Hello and welcome back. This week's movie pick from my shower curtain is a movie that my mother actually chose, which is funny because my mom is not a horror movie enthusiast whatsoever, which means that she's great to watch them with because she has all of the reactions, which I love. The movie she chose was filmed in 1980 and it's called Motel Hell. Now, Motel Hell is about a friendly farmer by the name of Vincent, and he sells Vincent's world famous smoked meats. And another main character in this movie is called Ida, which is Vincent's sister, and she's amazing. You'll see here in a bit. I absolutely love her. So let me show you where this movie is on my curtain. Right there, Motel Hell. Can't wait to get into this one. The opening scene is of the front of the hotel, which is actually called Motel Hello, but the O on the hello is flickering on and off to make it look like it is indeed saying Motel Hell. And in the living room on the TV is playing a televangelist show, which kind of gives it the first religious feel to this movie. We follow Vincent as he seems to be doing some night hunting. He's got a shotgun and he's going through the woods. And all of a sudden, a motorcycle swerves off the road. Carrying two passengers with it, male and female. And Vincent goes over there to check on them. The male is dead and the female is still alive but badly injured. And liking the look of this female, Vincent decides to nurse her back to health and takes her with him back to the motel. We now meet Ida. She is easily my favorite character in this whole movie. She's great. She's in the kitchen singing along to religious music. And when Vincent carries in this young woman that he saved by the name of Terry, who is easily my least favorite character of the whole movie, but whatever, we'll get to that. And he explains to Ida that the Lord saw fit to save this woman's life and he intends to help. Reluctantly, Ida too agrees to help nurse her back to health.
Ida, come in here.
I'm hungry, Vincent. What do you want?
Good Lord has chosen to put this flower away from the Grim Reaper. And I want to make good and sure he keeps his hands off her. I need your help.
Why?
A couple come to the motel to buy Vincent's meats, which have no preservatives, no chemicals, and he sells them within a 100-mile radius of this town that he lives in. That way he can keep the price reasonable. And then we meet Bruce, who is Sheriff Bruce, who is actually the younger sibling to Vincent and Ida. While Bruce is at the motel, Terry, the young woman that Vincent saved, wakes up and asks about her boyfriend, Beau. So Vincent explained that Beau died and was buried. Terry's asking, who gave you the right to bury him, this and that. And Bruce said that in small towns, when it's kind of an emergency situation, it's okay that the body has been buried.
You mean he's dead? I don't believe it. I want to see him.
Well, it's too late. I buried him at sunrise.
Who gave you permission to bury him?
Ma'am, in this county, under extenuating circumstances, it's okay.
So she seems to go along with this, and then eventually she decides to give farm life a try.
I'm so confused. I don't even know what I'm doing here. I don't know whether I should go back home or try and find
better before you rush off anywhere.
Oh, the ways of the Lord are mysterious. The very fact that you're sitting here with us proves that it was preordained.
guess you're right.
We see that Vincent has a type of secret garden. And during a health inspection, a man named Bob, the health inspector, notices this too.
Oh, Bob, what a surprise. I wasn't expecting you for another month.
Well, this is what we call a little spot check, Vincent. I'm sorry for the inconvenience.
So he decides to come back that night and kind of take a look around this secret garden. And he is surprised to find out the type of crops that are grown back there. Vincent severs the vocal cords of his animals, which is what he calls these human cabbages, and he and Ida feed them all natural, no chemical foods.
Listen to me. Ain't that a good sound, Ida?
And as it turns out, when Vincent is going hunting, he's actually hunting people. And he has gotten to be very creative in his people hunting.
Something's weird. They look fake. Is this some kind of a joke?
I mean the traps. Shooting out the tires. Chains stretched across the highway. The way we had you lying by the side of the road next to that old Chevy we set on fire. You know what I mean, the traps.
Oh, sure. But how come they're so important to you?
Well, because they give me a chance to be creative.
Vincent's famous smoked meats are made from human. Now let's watch their people planting method. The siblings have some pretty cool sayings that they say throughout the movie, which I think just kind of added to it. It showed that they have family value and they're just hilarious with what they're saying.
Never put any distinctions on any of God's creatures. She always used to say,
Meat's meat and man's gotta eat.
Next, we meet a rather colorful couple that added a lot of humor to this movie. They're just goofy.
Edie, where's my jelly?
So remember me saying earlier that Terry is the worst character of the movie? Well, Ida thought so too, and she decided to take her tubing.
Why was that noise?
Stupid Vincent. After Vincent rescues Terry, Terry throws herself at him. And Vincent doesn't go for it. Being a God-fearing man, he says it's not decent since they're not married. And of course, Terry takes this as a proposal. Vincent goes along with it. Stupid Terry. Now we meet Reverend Billy, who is not in the movie much at all. You see him in the background on the TV when they're watching televangelical shows. Um, and he's not in this movie very much, but he's just a fun character, a memorable character. So we see him, he agrees to wed Vincent and Terry.
Glory, 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 Ashanganda, Karabombe, Ascarabamba. I'm talking in tongues. I'm just so happy for you. God bless you, Vincent. Listen, we're going to take care of everything. We'll have it all done by tomorrow, and it's going to be a happy day. So you don't worry about anything now.
Thank you, Reverend. Thank you.
And later on, he confiscates a certain magazine from Sheriff Bruce.
God. Oh, glory.
Bruce gets a call over the radio, and it's a distress call from this young woman who's screaming about some madman trying to kill her. He attempted to find her, and he never did. So when he went back to the motel, he was talking to Vincent and Ida about this, and they were like, oh yeah, we heard some kids running around playing pranks. That must be what it was. So Bruce went along with this story, but he never actually believed it. So then we see him looking around the pond where Terry almost died. Dang it. And in this pond, he sees a bunch of cars that were pushed into it. So now he's starting to think that there's something going on with his older siblings. We now get to see the way that Vincent and Ida harvest their crops by way of astro projection hypnotism.
You think they deserve it?
Ida, what does the good book say?
I know. Do unto others as ye would have others do unto ye, right?
Right. Three,
Ready for takeoff?
one, take off!
Then Bruce finds Terry alone in the house, and he's trying to convince her of the fact that Vincent is probably going to try to kill her. We then see the crops get free. We now see Ida meet her end at the crop's hands. This actually made me kind of sad. Then we see Vincent trying to convince Terry that what they're doing is not evil, that he's actually trying to help out God. There are too many people in this world, there's not enough food, and by what they're doing, he's helping out with both.
I treat most of my stock better than farmers treat their animals. I don't feed them chemicals or hormones. When you consider the way the world is today, there's no question I'm doing a lot of them a big favor.
He also reiterates that he does not use chemicals or preservatives. Vincent finally realizes that Terry will never fit in with their way of life.
Well, I guess Ida was right. She told me you'd never fit in. I'm very sorry, Terry.
So Bruce comes in to save the day, and actually the most epic scene of the movie takes place. Bruce saves the worst character of the movie. And Vincent gives the best line.
My whole life is been a lie. I'm the biggest hypocrite of them all.
What do you mean?
I mean, I used preservatives.
Vincent then gives Bruce the motel, the animals, the secret garden. And we find out that Bruce never knew about anything that was going on because at the age of 11, he ran away from home. The stars of this movie were Roy Calhoun, who played Vincent. He can be seen in shows such as Tales from the Crypt, Alfred Hitchcock Presents, Angel, and Policewoman. Paul Linke, who plays Bruce, can be found in The Guest House, Killing Mr. Griffin, Shrunken Heads, and also Policewoman. Nancy Parsons, who is Ida Smith, love her. She was in Amazing Stories, Porky's 1, 2, and 3, where she actually, I believe, won an award. If she didn't win, she was nominated. And Charlie's Angels, the show, the original show. Then we have Nina Axelrod, who played Terry. She was in Cobra, Critters 3, and Charlie's Angels with Ida Smith. Well, not Ida, but with Nancy Parsons. Then we have Wolfman Jack, who played Reverend Billy. Now, Wolfman Jack, he was big back in, it was, I think, the late 60s through the early 80s. He was a DJ personality. And he was the man who, hey, this is Wolfman Jack. He was awesome. So I love that he was in this movie. He also played a DJ in American Graffiti. He was in Married with Children, Swamp Thing, the miniseries, Mortuary Academy, and The Midnight Hour, also as a DJ. Again, I think it was so much fun that they put him in this movie. And then Kevin Connor is the director of Motel Hell. He also did Frankenstein, the 2004 version. He did Murder Without Conviction, The House Where Evil Dwells, and multiple other. He's directed several movies. And then the writers of this movie are Robert and Stephen Jaffe. They've written other movies like Night Flyer and Demon Seed. Now to the fun facts. So originally, this movie was going to be a lot darker. There was going to be no comedic value to it whatsoever. And apparently, there were going to be adult scenes involving animals. Am I allowed to say that on YouTube? I'm pretty sure. So director Kevin Connor, having no luck securing a script in several months, he went to go see his agent by the name of Bobby Littman. Littman reached out to another agent who happened to have a couple clients, the Jaffe brothers, that were looking for a young director to direct their movie. So Connor agreed to direct this movie, but with stipulations. He was going to be allowed to X out all of the gratuitous nudity, horror, gore, all of that stuff, and he was going to be allowed to make this into a dark comedy. The Jaffe brothers agreed, and he made the movie. Now, this next fact I was very surprised to find out. This movie actually took its inspiration from a real-life cannibalistic serial killer by the name of Karl Denke. He was a German man whose family was farmers all through his growing up, and after his dad passed away, he and his brother inherited quite a bit of money. So his brother took over the house and the farmland, and Denke decided that he would buy a small plot for farming, which didn't turn out. So he ended up selling the farm and he bought a little house on the outskirts of that town. Denke turned his little house into a sort of boarding house for poor travelers and homeless people. The tenants of this boarding house used to call him Papa. Now, Papa was very highly regarded in this town. Every Sunday he could be found at the church playing the organ, and he also sold smoked meats for a very reasonable price. On the night of December 21st, 1934, a man by the name of Vincent Oliver was sent to Denke's border house by a local townswoman. He was down on his luck, so he was sent there to get food, shelter, whatever. And Denke attacked Oliver with a pickaxe. Luckily, Oliver was able to get away, but he escaped with a gash on his temple. Oliver went running from the house screaming that a madman was trying to kill him, and neighbors hearing this called the police. So the police show up and they question, both of them what happened. And a judge actually decided, because of the good reputation that Denke had, he decided that Oliver was lying and actually arrested him for vagrancy and panhandling. So while he was in jail, a doctor looked at the wound on his temple and decided, oh, this man really was attacked. So the police went back to Denke's and arrested him, put him in a holding cell so that they could ask him more questions, and Denke ended up hanging himself. Inside Denke's home, they found a diary that documented at least 40 deaths of men and women. They also found meat that was curing inside the house. They found boxes of bones, and they found various things like shoes, shoelaces, belts, things like that had been crafted out of human flesh. He also pickled human meat for not only his own consumption, but to sell in the marketplace as pork. The chainsaw duel at the end of the movie was actually an add-on at the last minute, and it took 5 12-hour days to film. A picture of Vincent wearing the pig head and holding the chainsaw actually made the cover of Fangoria magazine #9. The part of Sheriff Bruce was actually written for the actor Paul Linke because he went to college with co-writer Robert Jaffe. This one I couldn't believe. Nina Axelrod was actually considered to play the part of Elizabeth in the original Blade Runner, which ended up being a huge movie, and she was considered based on her acting in Motel Hell. What the hell? So there you have it. Obviously, I did not like Terry, nor the actress that played her, but the movie and the rest of the cast were so good that thankfully she was overshadowed. This movie had a plot that I had never seen before. I really liked the way that they treated their victims like plants, and the relationship between Vincent and Ida was just so intriguing to watch. I absolutely loved it. So, with all of that being said, I give Motel Hell 4 coffins. It would have gotten 5 if it wasn't for Terry, which I know it sucks that one person can bring it down, but casting really does make a difference. So thank you again, everybody who watched this video. If you haven't subscribed, feel free, and we will see you next time.